Hello everybody and welcome back to our Sobar Social shows. This week again, like last week, we'll be taking a special focus on individual artists in the Do or Die Poets, our poetry crew based here at Sobar. Today we'll be talking to the amazing Ali Bonzai, painter, musician, poet and all-round awesome fella. So, welcome Ali Bonzai, to our second in-depth Sobar social show, where we're looking more of a focused at the artists involved in the Do or Die Poets, who they are, what they do, and what makes them tick. So welcome and thank you, my friend, for joining us.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me. It's
Cool.
a pleasure to be here and lovely to see your digital face.
Damn right, my friend, vice versa. So, a lot of our viewers, or the viewers who have kind of engaged with us in the past, know you from the Do or Die Poets, from the Not Stopping Festival, some of the shows we put out. But I know that's not the only string to your bow. Tell us a bit more about the other creative outputs you've got, please.
Okay, yeah, I'm quite relatively new to this. I've been playing music and as a singer-songwriter for several years around Nottingham, and I do a bit of art as well. That's why I came to Nottingham. I did a fine art degree and I ended up staying. And I sort of manage my time between this creative pool of pursuits. But the kind of spoken word, prose, poetry, however you want to put it, like random words put together. That's something I've kind of done, and sort of with the sort of writing songs and penning songs, it's slightly different. Because I found that you can get away with a little bit of randomness in songs because their integrity is sort of held together by the song itself.
Yeah.
And with spoken word, it's a little bit more higher contrast because you've got the words alone, you've got nothing else to fall back on. So it's a bit of a different game, and I'm really enjoying it. It's something I'd call it a pleasure to do. It's something. It's great to just try and just find solutions to little puzzles that involve words.
Amazing, because I've seen, seems to be your artwork, especially the bee studies. I love those, and I've seen you perform musically. I think Cobden Chambers last time, and I've seen you perform your spoken word. I know it sounds like you feel more exposed with the spoken word, but is that what's drawn you to it? That kind of raw exposition, as it were?
I think it's because it's something different, and I think it's informing the way I work in the other practices that I do.
Okay.
So yes, there is something really new to it. For instance, when I don't get nerves when I go on stage or anything like that, from the sort of being on stage. But I felt like the first time I did sort of spoken word, I wasn't nervous, but afterwards I got nerves, and it was like really weird, and I kind of started shaking, and I was like, I remember this, and so it is very much informing how I sort of see things put together, and the group I'm in with the Do or Die Poets with
young Miggy.
Miggy, he's a wonderful human being, and so is everyone there, but they're just really inspirational to sort of listen to and be part of, and sort of trying to think of a better word than vibe off,
Understood.
Yeah, and so it's exciting. It's new, but it carries a lot of the former self, but in a new sort of guise, really. So it does feel like new territory for me.
But it sounds like it almost fits a little puzzle for you as well, somewhere in your overall creative output. That seems to click somewhere, because when we've seen your work, when we've seen you perform, especially the stuff you did walking around the forest, there was a certain effervescence to it. I don't know if that's it. It was busy. It had a real kind of pop to it.
This one's called Cars and Caves and Similes and Stuff. I see friendly fire played out in the distance. Memories like adverts project the old wild paths, gulp down into the sunset. BRO Ken verse spilled out on dark into echo chambers and separate ecosystems suspended in infancy, stopping and stopping, AGAIN, not knowing I had restarted, coughing and spluttering with fuel tanks remaining vapours, mesmerising sine waves of soft fields, loud gentle. Like me as a child, nodding off in a passenger position without knowing that I'm just coasting down the hill. And I can't tell which way I've come just by looking at the road. I need maps of these lands. What news would I find in the north or the south? What words might I find I once lost from my mouth? But yeah, I enjoyed that. And finding my voice as well, because, you know, I don't really know how I'm speaking, projecting. I don't know, and I like that I don't know, and I like that I'm unsure about it. And these are things that are almost important part of the process of becoming good, or whatever that means. You know, it's just something that I enjoy about life. Words,
I can feel it off you.
Communication. You know,
I can feel it off you from here.
I think they're magic things, and you know, you can. It's and I do and ah a bit in my normal speech, but I don't need to do that when I'm writing. It's all coherent. And,
Yes.
And it's like, yes, this is me when I've been concentrating for 5 hours. Here's a line. You know, so,
Well, that's more than I can manage, trust me. So you mentioned earlier on about the kind of inspirations, you know, especially the Do or Die Poets, and obviously in other areas of your life, because your output is so diverse, what does inspire you? Can you encapsulate that?
I think apart from the aforementioned people from the Do or Die group, I think it's generally just what I pick up in snippets, like references to modern culture and stuff that are slightly discordant or irreverent or something like that, just plucked out, possibly similar in a Bowie-esque way of writing. Grab that, put that, have the contrast to something else, and a clip I hear on the radio or someone walking past, or film. Sometimes I watch like I love watching, you know, sci-fi stuff, and I watch sci-fi, and I'll just jot things down, you know, like references to like Alien 3 or something like that, or you know, in with a serious song. So there's that contrast, and that's life, isn't it? You know, that just things jumbled together and trying to make sense of it, and you know, it doesn't have to have it doesn't have to have a continuity thread that is in the same imprint. You know, like you know, like a weather report at the train station, and I felt sad, and you know, it doesn't have to be like that.
Outside. The outside. The outer sides of the defensive walls, maybe. We are in the inside. Inside, we are in it. But we cannot be out the outside. To be outside, we must be on and not out. And we cannot be in the outside. We definitely have to be on it. Which brings me to believe that being on the outside is slightly closer to being in the inside than I had initially thought.
Everyone knows what those things are like. It's when you kind of grab something and put it next to something. That's what I'm interested. That's what I like. Some contrast.
That seems to kick something off then.
Yeah, and I think that kind of comes from the art background as well. Just because I would spend quite a bit of time doing all these pieces, but I'd spend more time putting them up and placing them on the wall. Like my degree, I put 140 different pieces up.
Wow.
And
that's one big composition.
Yeah, I got a 10-metre stretch of wall. No one wanted it, but I was like, oh, I'll have that. And this was way back in 2003, but I spent 4 days putting it up, and I saw people come in, go, bam, put their thing up, which was brilliant what they were doing, but they were operating in a different way. You know, I was there for 4 days, and that was the most enjoyable part of it, just the composition of elements, just putting them together. And I like that, and I like when I stumble across things that are accidental. And you know, I'm that weird guy that walks around and discovers things on floors and goes, oh, and puts it in my pocket. And you know, I've got a little bag for little rusty things because I thought, oh, I'll save that.
Yep.
Don't know why. And yeah.
I'm no wager, I'm no one's prize. Just some other sacrifice. I'm not the one to save your life, nor the one that helps you sleep at night. No, I'm not the comfort of the religious choir. I'm not the one. I'm not the one. No, I'm not the traitor or the wire. No, I'm not the judge of the horse of this night. No, I'm not the winds that give your sails lift to the moonlight. Oh, I'm not the prose, nor the cause of the trial. And all my enemies are my greatest teachers. And all my enemies are my greatest teachers. All my enemies are my greatest teachers. So educate me with your crooked smile and break us not quite in half like a wishbone at Christmas time. 'Cause I'm not the one. I'm not the one. I'm not the one.
You mentioned early on you don't get nervous while performing.
Not really, no.
And I know a lot of people, especially Do or Die poets, and especially at Sobar, nerves are a big thing. And not
Yeah.
nerves, but just that kind of anxiety, and you can sometimes see it. But when I've seen you, say, at Cobden Chambers, singing, you know, with your guitar, there's none of that around. Is that a secret? Is there a performance key? Is there a tip? Is there something you can advise other people to overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, I can talk a little bit about it, whether it's useful. Yeah, I mean, I was really nervous when I first started getting up on stage.
What was your first gig?
I think it was it was an open mic at the Golden Fleece on Mansfield Road.
Ah, yeah, no, well.
And I sung one song that I'd written, and I hid behind the lyric sheets, and it was stuck with glue tack on the mic, and it was just like, and you know, it was useful. My body was trying to help me. It was going, This is very unusual for you. What are you doing? Go home, go to bed, and cry. And but you know, your body and your mind, they're trying to help you, and they can't distinguish those things, and that's why we feel like those things. And it's only by chipping away at them incrementally and getting used, becoming familiarised with an area. Because on the flip side, for instance, I suffered from anxiety for the majority of my adult life. I wasn't, you know, at the same time I was diagnosed with dyslexia. I was diagnosed with sort of anxiety issues, and it just all made sense, and there was lots of practical things I could do with it. But so it wasn't. It was a few years later that I started performing live and wanted to go down that line. And the thing is, I just was really in love with music and the idea of doing it. And if that is your only block, and it's a big block, like getting up and performing, then you'll find a way of doing it if you love it that much, you know.
Yeah.
Because it becomes essential. Otherwise, you just get blocked up, and you, I don't know, possibly
Comes out sideways in other areas potentially.
sideways. I did it sideways, in the words of Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
Don't apologise. The crescent of a portal runs human like sick, encrusting the rim like salt around a cocktail glass. The descent into a 23-year-long night out, all neon sparks and leather jackets now thinning with age, transmuted to fumes of a brittle silence. Standing with the sounds of my shadow outlines twitch this vessel I am in. A voice carries through the ancient PA systems over car parks of the Midlands and wetlands of the South. The other set returned after the bombs, and they are so. Dead birds and dead cats strewn in circles outlines twitch in the morning's nervous duties, and no plans were ever drawn up to set them loose, only the gesture of a pin on a lapel. The building that burnt down, but you never heard about it. A wreck of now bleached skeletal tender stacked corals. Round glass marbles garnish the base. A game half finished that nobody plays. And there she is, still there in the fire at the window, holding the knife that fits in his back. And my mother saw it too and came to me with this vision. The white lead paint looms in the 80s skies, Turner-esque childhood dioramas, white dog shit lit low on estate corners with road names above their station. Prince Andrew's close, but you can't see him. You just have to believe. You need more faith. And all these mixed together in dreams of purgatory, glowing up the edges of panes of glass in the setting of a Victorian conservatory as part of the old hotel, glorious yet condemned to represent its former self. And we are at the shoreline, skimming flat stones over still lakes, unquieting, just visiting.
yeah,
So it's kind of
there's,
trusting in the process and trusting in yourself by the sound of things is the key to that.
I think so. Knowing that you have to expose yourself just a little bit just to get used to it. You're immunising yourself with a little bit of the thing that you fear.
It's like a vaccine,
It is
an anxiety vaccine performing.
It is, yes, yeah. But now, and the thing is, once I got used to it, you do get used to it, and pretty quickly as well. By the 6th time of doing it, you know, yeah, it'll differ, but you'll be like, okay, I can do this. I feel the nerves. I register they're there. You acknowledge they're there, but it's not a reason for you not to do it. It's just a reason for you to enjoy this part of life and reflect on it, and that's it. And treat it as an exercise, an exercise in sort of you as the experiment. You're experimenting with something, and treat it and try and remove yourself from it and be pragmatic about it and go, well, yes, I wanted to die there, darling, but
But
it's
here
very
I am.
interesting. Yes.
Wow. Well, talking of performing, obviously, some a minor thing called a global pandemic has got in the way of quite a few performances, and will do probably for the foreseeable or the immediate. But
Yes.
who have you been performing with? You know, just in the other, you know, is it bands? Are they kind of duos? You contributing to any other situations?
Oh, right, yeah. So I do my own stuff under Ali Bonsai, and I have for a while, and I did a thing called the Bonsai Band, and that was very good. And at the moment, I am one of the singers in a band called The Invisible Orchestra.
Ah, yes, James wearing what you're wearing. His birthday today, wasn't it?
It was, and I'm not talking to him at the moment because I've forgotten about his birthday, and I want him to forget about that.
Well, there's quite a few thousand other people, so you just blend in.
Oh, right. Yes, I know. Sorry, Jimmy. Sorry, I love you. He won't watch this.
No,
He's not a fan of me. He's not
not a fan of me either, so don't worry about it.
Oh, right. Yeah, we're in the same boat. But yeah, that's great. The Invisible Orchestra. With I think currently about 15, 16 piece band, and it was a 28 piece at one point before I joined. And I've been there for a couple of years. I've done a couple of songs with them.
I saw you at the Metronome last time when Bunker
Yeah.
Pop was supporting.
Oh yeah, great.
Kyle Arden was singing that night, I seem to remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Metronome. It's brilliant. It's a great venue. Yeah, and it's great because I get to see the band that I'm in and enjoy them as a band because I only have a small part of it, you know. So I get to enjoy them, which is great. But they're just a high. What I like about them is it's just a high energy band, and I've got a different kind of energy with what I do. So it's just nice to have some people that, you know, so many drums, you know.
It's that contrast then, the contrast to kind of the high and low and the kind of cultural and not cultural. It seems like to a certain extent, that's how you thrive, putting those bits together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always difficult to sort of analyse how you do things because it's just the way you do things. In the same sense that, you know, Douglas Adams' character in Hitchhiker Goes to the Galaxy. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You know, Arthur Dent. It was just based on him because he's supposed to be a normal person. He's the most normal person you could think of, and that's because it's, you know, you judge things from your own perspective. So what's normal? Well, I'm normal, and you know that we all know that things aren't normal. You know, and so Arthur Dent is, you know, it's pretty odd in it. You know, so yeah. So I'm trying to liken that to what I just said, but I don't know.
Well, there's the contrast there and the kind of the exposing to the new, you know, and your kind of potentially laid back vibe compared to the Invisible Orchestra's multi-energy vibe. Do you know what I mean? That works for you. And you were saying earlier on about the contrast of things work for you.
Yes, they're very noisy.
They sure are, and they put a good show. So that's your kind of yourself, the Invisible Orchestra. What about your kind of 2D work, your artistic work? You're still painting? So we're going to show some of that throughout this interview as well.
Yeah, I do. I do some painting, cue some clips.
Yeah. La 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 la.
a little, but this is the sort of thing I do. I come up with an idea and I sort of run with it. You can probably see
cool. They're amazing.
there's some sort of little hands.
And what's that? Oh, is that plasterboard? Is that?
This is on found wood, so this is probably from pallet board that I found over the industrial estate.
She prepares me for the days with a kiss on my shoulder and leaves me to wait. And I thought I'd made mistakes before my eyes were open. And I try to speak to strangers, but nothing comes out. And I try living dangerous, but it's hard to leave the house. I make it bravely to the pavement, sometimes before I turn around. Any day now she'll come back, and I am lost at once, and lost at I am lost at once. Any day now she'll come back. She prepares me for the days with a kiss on my shoulder. And I thought I'd make mistakes before my eyes open. And I try to speak to strangers, but nothing comes out. And I try living dangerous, but it's hard to leave the house. Any day now she'll come back, and I am lost at once, and lost at I am lost at I am lost and I am lost at once, and lost at once. And a day now she'll come back. Like Ripley at the end of Alien 3. And there's something inside of me just trying to get out. There's something inside of me something inside of me just trying to get out. There's something inside. Any day now I spit it out. Oh, now I'm lost at once. I'm lost at lost at once, am lost at I am lost at once, am lost at I am lost at once, am lost at once.
I mean, I go under the name Ali Bonsai, and that started from a thing when I was 16 called the Bonsai Projects, because I like bonsai trees, and
Yep.
I just kept all these old school books and would write down little ideas, and then I might make them, and then they're all quite little things, and I thought, and it came from that, and then just people started calling me Ali Bonsai.
That's the only name I've known you by.
Yeah, me too. And so to do little things is just sort of a natural thing. And I like to make a lot of them and spend some time with them and see what they are. And
You're very loyal. You're very loyal to your ideas as well. Because this is probably a question for me, but that gumption you apply to it, that kind of, you don't just do one print. You don't just do one, painting. One day it's okay. Where'd they come from? You kind of produce multiples of. Where'd you get the gumption from? The application.
It's what are the variables? Is this? I might quite like something about this one, but if I do another one, I might see something else, and I like the comparison. And I think it's healthy to compare yourself to your own abilities. It's when you go outside that sphere and start comparing yourself to other things, it gets tricky and it's not healthy. But so actually making things that you can compare, there's a sort of, I don't know, something comforting about it. Yeah, and I want to get it. I want to get things right as well. I mean, I'm not going for anything technically superb. I'm going for a feeling. And I mean, I could technically draw quite well, I suppose, but I'm not really.
Doesn't interest you
in that? No, it loses something for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you'll lose out on that almost kind of random composition element to it, that kind of, you're putting something out there in the ether and your work is answering that question. You lose that if you're aiming for perfection, surely.
I guess so, but then I do like to that's where the contrast comes in. We're trying to quickly do something. Everything's got something instantaneous about it in what I do, but then it's mixed, and then I like putting layers down, sanding them off, and I don't have much control over what they look like. I do that, and then when I get something that's random, and I'm like, I like that, and it feels like something outside contributed to that randomness and that I'm doing, and I like that slightly chaotic element to it.
This one's called photograph number 12. This seems familiar. Am I to enter or to leave? I've noticed of late that some of the leaves seem quietly out of place, and some of the greys are the wrong greys. What am I to enter into or leave from? I'm facing outwards from the carousel, and faraway edges are folding hospital corners inbound, different shaped breaths that I can't tend. The wild is unclipped, yawning, half awake.
Cool. Okay, well, I'm going to bring things to a close. Just got one final question. Really, again, it's about if you were talking to Ali of 10 years ago, or Ali Bonsai, who wants to get into performing, or another, creative person without an outlet, what would you advise them to do? Big question. Or what do you do to kick yourself off?
Well, remember that what you see now isn't necessarily the truth of it. You've designed your life in a certain way, and you have some rules for life which you think are solid, which only exist because you have to believe these things to be you right now. But start thinking about alternative ways of how to view your life and where you want to be, and make amends, and adjust accordingly to where you want to be. And it doesn't have to be through the routes that's right in front of you. Just go sneak round the back.
Cool. Experiment.
Yes. Yeah.
Jobs are good. Ali, before we go again, any shout outs? Anybody want to say hello to? Anybody? Because we're going to be broadcasting this, not this Thursday after. Anybody out there like James, for example, for a birthday? Anybody you want to say hello to? All right then.
No, just not James. I'd like to send a big hello to my... No, I'm going to keep that secret. No. Hello. Hello, y'all. Yeah.
Hello, Planet Knots.
Yeah.
Cool. Ali, on that note, my friend, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to speak to us, and thank you for your graft and your input, especially the Do or Die Poet stuff, do you know what I mean, as well. I know it's a great collective, a great unit, and, Brilliant. You make it, man. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank
and you
take
so care. Have a great weekend.
I love you too, Jason. I miss you. I miss you.
I miss you too, Ali.
I miss your cakes.
Please. We will be open again, but just
when are you going to be open?
We're looking towards the end of August now, just to open up, and hopefully we'll get people back on stage at a safe distance. So, no singing, no dancing. We'll have to do a mime exhibition, I think. But, but yeah, we will be back at the end of August, and as soon as we are, we're going to get you back up there, my friend.
Great. Lovely to hear.
Cool, man. You take care, and see you next time, Ali. See you in a bit. Bye.
Ciao, Ducky. Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.
And that was the wonderful Ali Bonsai there, and live and direct, coming to us through Zoom. Thank you, Ali. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and thank you, everybody from Studio House for helping this and making it happen, and young Greg on sound. I'm Jason, and I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you.